Chapter 7, Lesson 5, Solve and Write Division Equations. Our content targets students understand that properties can be used to solve and write division equations. Our language target, how we'll do that, is students will demonstrate their understanding by writing and solving division equations using the properties of equality. So solving division equations. In the equation, a over 4 equals 5, where A represents the monthly allowance, means the monthly allowance divided by 4 equals $5. Since multiplication and division are inverse operations or opposite, we're going to use multiplication to solve division equations. So for today, when I look at A divided by 3 equals 7, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by the denominator, or by 3. So when I multiply 3 and 3, they cancel each other out because we simplify before we multiply, and I'm left with A. And 7 times 3 is 21. So our value of A is 21, so our solution is 21. And if I take 21 divided by 3, and I write down 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, I notice that that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is true. So let's take a look at some examples here. Let's solve each equation. So again, when I look at letter A, x divided by 8 equals 9. X divided by 8 equals 9. So what I want to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by the denominator. The denominator is 8, so I multiply that by 8 over 1. And I multiply it by 8 over here. 8 over 1 and 8 are the same thing. I write it as a fraction on this side because this is a fraction over here as well. So 8 and 8, since those are opposites, they cancel each other out, leaving only my variable. And 9 times 8 is 72. So if I go back, 72 divided by 8 equals 9. Yes, that's true. If I look at letter B, y divided by 4 equals 8. Y divided by 4 equals 8. Again, I'm going to multiply both sides by my denominator. So that's 4 over 1. And on this side, it's times 4. The 4's simplify before we multiply. We cancel those out. I'm left with my variable y. And 8 times 4 is 32. And to check that, 32 divided by 4 is 8. Yes, that is true. If I look at letter C, m divided by 5 equals 9. Again, I'm going to divide by my denominator. I'm going to multiply by my denominator, sorry. I'm going to write that as a fraction of 5 over 1 on this side and 5 over here. 5 over 1 and 5 are both the same thing. One is just written as a fractional form. This one is not. So when I multiply, I simplify before I multiply. The two 5's cancel each other out. I'm left with the m, and 9 times 5 is 45. I'd like you to pause the video and try letter D on your own. Letter D says that 30 equals B divided by 2. So again, I multiply by the denominator, which is 2. So when I simplify before I multiply, the 2's cancel out. I'm left with my variable b. And 30 times 2 is 60. So to check that, I would take 60 divided by 2 equals 30. And that, yes, that is a true statement. So when we have to write an equation, it says Sophia is buying party favors. She has a budget of $2.75 a person for 6 people. How much can Sophia spend on party favors? So the total is what we're looking for. How much is she going to spend for party favors? That's our variable. We know she's going to have 6 people there. And it has to equal $2.75 a person. So again, I'm going to multiply each of these by 6 because that's my denominator. Cross simplify before I multiply. 6 and 6 are the same number. Those cancel out. I'm left with W equals, and 2.75 times 6 is going to be $16.50. The weight of an object on the moon is 1/6 of that of its weight on Earth. If an object weighs 35 pounds on the moon, write and solve a division equation to find the weight on Earth. That's our W. So I know that W, 1/6 is the other one. So 6 is my denominator. And it equals 35 pounds here on Earth. So to find out how much, on the moon, how much you would weigh on the Earth, again, I'm going to multiply that by 6, and I multiply this side by 6. Simplify before you multiply. Opposite numerator and denominator are the same, so they cancel out. I'm left with W, and 35 times 6 is 30. 18 plus 3 is 210 pounds. So we look at the last one. Nathan picked a total of 60 apples in 1/3 hour. Write and solve a division equation to find how many apples he could pick in 1 hour. So 1/3 of an hour. So we want 1 hour. The 1 is the same. So my variable is W over 3 equals 60. So how many total apples could he pick? I would have to multiply each one by 3. Cross simplify before I multiply. I'm left with my variable W equals 60 times 3, which is 12, 18, and add a 0, apples. You can also do this using a fractional model. This is 1/3. This is 1/3. This is 1/3 of an hour. So all together, it's 1 hour. And in each 1/3, you pick 60 apples. If I add all of those together, 60 plus 60 plus 60, I get 180 apples. So another way to look at it,